Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's sketch is this one right here, and it does have lots of banners on it. Now, my first thought was to make this into a stacked washi layout, but I feel like that's almost what I do all the time, so I decided to grab a 6x8 paper pad, and this is one of the Simple Stories I Am, and I figured that these would make great, just like the perfect length of banners for that. So I grabbed that. I grabbed a couple Scrapping Reflections embellishments, the glitter heart stars, this love word, this heart circle. Then I also grabbed some doilies, some things from my stash, and 2 photos of some truly awesome food at the counter in Phoenix. So let's see what I can do. Okay, so I am just going to flip through the 6x8 pad and kind of figure out which ones I want to use out of it. Now, there are definitely some papers that the one side I will not use, and there are some papers where both sides are very usable. Now, that cheetah print, not happening. Especially on this layout. However, this is a purple butterfly print, and once I map my photos on top of it, you can't even tell that it's butterflies. The only thing you see is the purple. So that makes my heart happy because, you know, nobody needs butterflies on a burger photo layout, and I don't need butterflies anyway. So I go ahead and trim down my photos. I just trim 1/4 of an inch off of them. That way I can use this 6x8 paper pad to mat the photo. Now, of course, I could have turned the photo and matted it the other direction on the paper pad, but I didn't bother with that. My ATG ran out in the middle of this layout. Of course it did. So I grabbed my backup adhesive, and it was a little funky. It had rolled up upon itself, and I didn't feel like dealing with that. So I turned off the camera and reloaded both of my ATGs with tape inside of them. So now that I have that done, I'm going to take the papers that I chose for the banners, and I'm just going to trim them down to random sizes. So I have anywhere from 1 inch all the way up to 3 inches. And like I said, it's completely random. It's just what I looked at and decided that sounded good. I do check out the other side of the papers just in case I wanted to use the other side. There is one piece of paper on here that I did do that with. I'm trying to take a peek and see which one it is. Well, I had planned on doing it with one, but I did not. That's okay. See that polka dotted, that yellow polka dot kind of paper there? I was going to do that one. Turned out I didn't. Not a big deal. So I have these 2 papers from Paper House. It's the same exact paper. It's actually a Christmas paper collection from the Christmas Joy collection. It has a very dark, deep wood grain on one side, and then on the back it's a light wood grain with some greenery and a word that says Christmas Memories. I go ahead and mat my entire layout on top of this dark, deep wood grain. And then I take the other one and I cut it in half so that I can use it for the large vertical strips that's going on in the sketch. So at first my idea was to kind of follow the sketch where the banners aren't all touching each other, and they're kind of separate, and to make that work. Ultimately, I don't do that. I put on way more strips of paper than what's called for in the sketch, and I don't make them into banners. I leave them as rectangles. And the reason why I did that, I just wanted them as rectangles. There was no other reason than that. So I am going to overlap these 2 pieces of paper to go ahead and create that vertical element. I'm just going to figure out where the photos are going to go. And I decide to put the photos on just an ever so slight angle. That way, if anything is not exactly square on the layout when I'm finished, you're not even going to notice because the photos are at that tiny angle. If anything else is, totally not a big deal. Your eye isn't going to go to it and be like, oh man, she really screwed that up. So don't even have to worry about that now. I decided to cut these strips of paper in half. And usually if I'm cutting papers in half like that, I leave the cut pretty obvious that that was the cut side. On these, I didn't do that so much, and there are a couple times where I have to look at the paper just to make sure I'm putting it down on the correct side. I'm not using any kind of measurements for this. I'm not lining the papers up with a ruler or anything like that. This is completely eyeballed, and I'm looking at it right now, and there's nothing on here that screams you're totally crooked, because the photos are at an ever so slight angle, so anything else that's going to be at an ever so slight angle, you're not even going to see it. Okay, so I'm just going to layer up every single one of these strips of paper now. Like I said, I went against the sketch, even though my original plan was to follow it. I just liked the way that it looked a little bit better without the gaps. The gaps just felt weird to me, so I decided not to go with that. Now, this lighter wood grain paper that the photos are kind of matted onto, it looks like a big stark white piece of paper here in the video, but it is a wood grain and you can see it in real life. Sometimes videos just don't convey the true color or hue of something. So that's okay. So I'm going to finish getting these papers all the way across, and I'm going to make sure that I am following the sketch in the way that I'm going to make sure that these strips don't peek out from behind the vertical photo mat thing going on there. I do decide to layer a couple of them up. So instead of just having them kind of next to each other with a little bit of overlap, I do place them in right over top of each other. And I think that that looks great. And I do it because it adds a little bit more of that yellow. Now, when I had originally done this, I thought I had more yellow, and that's where that yellow dottedness comes in. I decided not to go that direction and use the other paper instead. So I just made sure that I had the yellow throughout the layout now. Going to add a little bit of adhesive, and now it is time to embellish. So do I go straight to embellish? No, I decide to do the title. So my title is going to be Beautiful Burger Love. It is a large title, and I'm okay with that because this burger was outstanding. So if you've never been to this burger place called The Counter, it's really cool. They give you a paper placemat, and you basically get to build your own burger. And you can add whatever you want to it, and oh my goodness, it was just delicious. Fantastic. We ate there twice, I think, and I got the same exact burger both times because it was so good. And then there was this s'mores milkshake as well. And even though my title doesn't reference the milkshake whatsoever, it's still in the photo. But that's okay because this is actually going to be a 2-page, I don't want to say it's a spread because it's not going to be the exact same, but it will have a secondary page to it where I have a photo of the menu, and then I'm going to write my journaling and probably wax poetic about how much I loved this burger. It was just delicious. So I get my letters figured out where I want them to go, and I'm just going to make sure to use some liquid adhesive to keep that wood veneer down on the layout, and then later on I do add liquid adhesive to the thickers because you and I both know thickers don't stick. Now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put these glitter stars and also this wood veneer frame. Now in the sketch, the decoration is over here to the left of the photo, but I decide that I want something up at the top as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put my wood veneer frame up at the top, and then I'll still add a little bit of decoration over in the corner here so it's not so naked. Now, I don't know why I decided to piece together this fun foam underneath of these photos. I could have popped up both photos, put the fun foam on, popped them back right on down on that paper, and it would have been a whole heck of a lot easier. But what do? Do I take the easy way? No, I decide to piece the fun foam together underneath of the photos. It made sense in my mind at the time, but now that I'm doing the voiceover, I'm looking at this like, you craziness. Why in the world are you doing that? So again, I'm using the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive on the wood veneer. It does dry clear, and so anything that's going to be like a little pokey out, you're not going to have to worry about it. Now I'm thinking about where I want to bring in this doily. It's a really good color match for this collection, so I wanted to make sure to bring that in. And then I didn't even realize, but there were two stuck together, so I pulled off the one, so that could go back into the stash. And then I have these 3 little glitter hearts, and they come in a package with glitter and teal hearts, but I don't need the teal. Doesn't really go with the color scheme, so I just pulled out 3 of the glitter ones, and I'm going to put those down. And then I thought I would add some of my favorite sparkly sequins, but ultimately I skipped that, and what do? I grab little teal hearts. Now, I just said I didn't need the teal, but the teal of the acrylic hearts that come with it are a bluer teal than these greener teal hearts that I'm adding onto the page. And then I'm just going to add the name of the restaurant and the location and the date down here. And that is going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me and sticking through these 100 sketchy videos. We're going to be going all the way until May 10th. Make sure you join the Scrapping Reflections Facebook group. It is so great to see everyone's pages and layouts and creations that everyone is making these days. And I will see you guys again real soon for another video.